immediate resignation. I call for your immediate resignation and for the end of military rule in Egypt that has been in place since the 1952 revolution. I want to say to the Egyptian authorities, we will not be silent. I remember many years ago in South Africa when there was apartheid and there was discrimination against the blacks of South Africa, and the whole world was outraged, and there was international pressure that kept being put on the government of South Africa until they finally gave in and these people were given their full human rights. And we will continue to be a voice for the voiceless, the Coptic Christians of Egypt. I remember some years ago when young people in China desired change in their country and began to protest in Tiananmen Square. All of us remember that lone protester walking in front of the army tank, and yet the tank moved with him and did not do him any harm. The whole world was outraged and spoke out against this behavior by the Chinese authorities. Yet now, today, we have a far worse situation happening in Egypt, where military tanks are moving at full speed and flattening peaceful protesters and shooting them with live ammunition. The state-sponsored media announces moments after that the Copts are attacking the military. What nonsense! The mind boggles to comprehend such a situation, and why is the international community taking little action to condemn this atrocity in the strongest of terms? I also have a question to my Muslim brothers and sisters. Why is it that a Coptic dome representing heaven or a cross that is a symbol of patient endurance and forgiveness enrages you so much that you decide to attack this church in Aswan and others and burn it to the ground and attack Christian homes and businesses? Why is it that Muslims turn to physical violence when they do not approve of any issue or if they feel some injustice towards them, whereas Copts have turned to fasting and prayer for 3 days to ask for God's intervention and protection to the crimes against them?
For you today and share your grief at what has happened to your brothers in Egypt, and to speak out loud and clear and strong for the universal decencies of mankind. I had a mentor in my school days, a Jesuit priest, who said to me constantly, pray as if everything depended upon God, but work as if everything depended upon you. And I want to say to all of you that you are working so hard today, first of all, to speak out on behalf of the great Coptic community of Australia. Second, to show solidarity with the Coptic community of Egypt, the oldest and largest Christian community of the Middle East. But third, and in some ways most importantly, you are speaking out for that respect and that decency and that humanity which is so very Australian and that we wish to see observed right around the world. I do want to pay tribute to all of you for the good work that the Coptic community has done in this country. Your community has been marked my commitment to hard work and family values. And I want to say, as the leader of the political party which most represents small business in this country, how pleased I am at the contribution that the Copts of Australia have made to small business. But most of all, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say to you that it is an outrage what has happened to your community. It is an outrage which should cry out to heaven for rectification. And I want to say to you that when we saw the protests in Egypt, when we saw the protests in the other countries of the Middle East, we all thought that perhaps for the first time in generations, democracy and human rights might be coming to that troubled part of the world. But a democracy which crushes people is no democracy. And let us hope, true religion can contemplate this kind of horror. Thanks very much indeed.
Mr. Rapp, thank you. Our next speaker is Mr. Scott Morrison, MP, Liberal Federal Member for Cook, Shadow Minister for Productivity and Population, and Shadow Minister for Immigration and Citizenship.